excuse me, we are going to have fun. We're going to have fun talking about a serious subject, but we're going to have fun with it. Why not? How many of you came in yesterday? Pretty much everybody. I'm originally from southeast Idaho, and then grew up pretty much in southeast Idaho, but spent my working years in Cache County in Logan as a deputy sheriff there. And I know half of you, as I've been walking around this morning, thought, now is he the cop or is he the one running from the cop? I was a cop, a deputy sheriff, proudly, and had a great career in Cache County. The subject matter we're going to talk about today, please, questions, because this is intuitive. This is discussion based, this stuff here, okay? If you don't know what a discussion is, ask Amanda, because she's always telling me, Paul, we got to have a discussion. So I've mastered how to listen to the discussion. Anyway, just joking. This is Amanda, my sweetheart. We live in Idaho Falls. And if it weren't for the Snake River, we wouldn't put up with the winters up there. But the fishing's awesome. Okay? So come up if you want. We'll take you to a couple of our funnest places and hopefully land a big brown trout. Okay? Anyway, conflict de-escalation used to be called verbal judo. Okay? We've all been in situations where, has anybody here ever said, this is not rhetorical, I want to show a hand. Has anybody ever said anything stupid? My life story for many a years. Saying things and then stepping back and realizing, yeah, I shouldn't, another disclaimer. There's going to be disclaimers. I'm going to throw them up. And I bounce back and forth, so just stay with me, all right? My thoughts, they go a million miles an hour. It's how I've always been. If I swear, slip up and swear, I don't mean to offend anybody. I thought we fixed that, but I don't know how. Okay? My forte, really what defined me in law enforcement was the SWAT aspect of it. Where else are you going to get paid to break into things, destroy shit, get all amped up, and then gather your team, turn around and leave and turn it over to somebody else? That was my job for 20 years. It wasn't full time. Cache County didn't really have a need for 24-hour. We were on call for 24 hours. And we got used a lot, surprisingly, but yeah, kind of fun. You know, guns and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it was a fun career. Let's get started. Conflict de-escalation. How many of you are drivers? And mid-management administration? Okay, we do have a lot of drivers. Good, because the administration can pass this stuff on to you, but I want the drivers to really pay attention to what's going on, okay? Because I took a lot of police material and modified it slightly to you guys, okay? Guys, men, women, boys, girls, and kind of customized it for you, for us. And let me start off with an example, okay? You guys drive mostly, if I understood from a sweetheart I spoke out there earlier, ADA buses? Okay, good. Picture a bus, and Todd, maybe you can help me with this. A big, long bus, like they have in San Francisco or Seattle, probably Salt Lake, some of these big buses. You get on, and they're tiered. The back sits way high, and if you're way in the back, you feel like Metallica should be playing way up front in front of you. One of those buses. You get on one of those buses, and there's very few people, okay? As you get on the bus and start walking back towards the back, which is where everyone, this room's small, so you didn't have a choice of whether you sat in the back or not, because that's where you'd all be. You get on and you start walking to the back of the bus, and just before it starts to tear up, there's a couple here, a young man and his wife. Across from them is a young man carrying a six-pack of beer, of some alcoholic beverage. Right behind him is another young man, both of them, a couple of handsome young fellers. Right behind the guy with the six-pack is another young man, well-built, just a sharp-looking kid, cutting himself with a piece of glass. And right behind them is a man and two women sitting on the bus. You get on the bus and seemingly everybody's minding their own business. Okay? The guy, the bus driver, let me tell you, this example comes from Seattle, Washington. Okay? That should give you maybe a picture in your mind of where we're at. I don't know that Utah, I pray not, is as allowing. Anyway, bus driver's driving the bus. The kid with the six-pack starts yelling. And he's in obviously a drug-induced state. Mental health issue. We're going to talk about that today. And he is screaming at whatever demons he's battling. Don't know what they are. I don't expect all to understand. But in his world, he was screaming at somebody or something, okay? He's holding the six-pack, a few of which are gone, and he's in some state. People in the back don't understand it. The kid right behind him cutting himself with it, he doesn't care. And the couple over here are just scared to death. They're young couple. The kid gets up with one of his beers that's halfway gone and throws it and hits the lady next to him, the couple, the man and the woman, the married couple. Well, have any of you intervened yet in this scenario?
Yes.
Okay. How would you intervene? Please.
You got to protect your customers, your ridership.
I hope that's your policy.
Try to be on their level, not to be in authority.
You're driving, remember. The bus is in motion. You've got passengers to protect. You've got a property to protect. You're driving this umpteen bajillions of dollars worth of taxpayers' money. And, yeah, you're spot on to what you're saying. Did you have something else?
No,
spot on.
Thank you.
Well, he gets up and he throws this beer that was half gone, and it hits this lady. Well, the guy in the back seat, a retired cop, I had enough. I was with Amanda and my daughter. We went to Seattle to see my daughter. I listened to him yell. My daughter's praying that Dad doesn't do something. She was. Ask her. Because my daughter knows I'm a frickin' nut. And she was just, Dad. I couldn't let it go on any further. Once the screaming stopped and it became physical, I got up, took care of the problem, told the bus driver to stop the bus. He didn't care, at least on the outside. I think on the inside he was, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know. I would have thought, what do I do? What do I do? I'm driving a bus. I yelled at him to stop. He stopped. He opened the door, and we took care of the problem. And I just went back and sat down, and we went on our way. Problem solved. The couple was so thankful. They were, this fight or flight syndrome that we all seem to get when things get wound up. They were caught between. They didn't know what to do. Scared them to death. Anyway, real life story of conflict de-escalation. Let's move on because there's a couple things you need to understand. Oh. Kind of a cop word, lawyer word. Any lawyers in here? Please bless me, because there is a disclaimer. You guys should have company policies on what to do when stuff goes awry on your bus. Now, for 20 years, I worked with Todd, and we trained on their buses what to do if, heaven forbid, somebody should get on a bus that's wanting to do harm to a bunch of people. And how are we going to go in there and take care of the problem? These things that we're going to talk about today are practices. They're not gospel, okay? Take out of it what you will. I just don't want anybody... Where did that little beater thing go? The window breaker I had up here. You guys all got one, right, from those thingies? Anyway, those fun little attitude adjusters. This thing. This is a fun thing. Take these to church if you have little kids. Okay? Conflict de-escalation. All right? I'm joking. My mom certainly would have used one instead of pulling the back of my hair all those times at church in Dayton. Anyway, never compromise your safety. This is what I used to tell my SWAT guys. How can we possibly go into a hostile situation, guns a-blazing, breaking doors, breaking windows, with a big-ass smile on our face? You can't do that. You kind of got to be serious about what we're doing, but we're loving what we're doing, right? And how can we go into a situation and take care of it if we ourselves are not in control? It's all about control. We want to control a situation, but how can you possibly do that if you're out of control? Some of these situations are going to require quick thinking. You just kind of have to, because it's your safety, number one. That's what I used to tell the cops. Your safety is number one, not the citizens. Oh, that's not the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to, it's their safety. How can I possibly make you safe if I'm not safe? If I'm hurt, how can I possibly help you? Number one, okay, and then once again, these things are just things that I've come up with over the years, the school of hard knocks. I've been hit with this one too many times and then sat back and capitalized on my mistake. Oh, that was dumb. I'm the type of person that not only gets hit with a hammer once, 2 or 3 times, and I learn how to do it, okay? Some situations do not rise to de-escalation in the form of verbiage, action. Okay? We'll talk about those. You guys need to understand Utah code, okay? 762404, every cop in the world knows what this is, all right? Deadly force. A person is justified in threatening using deadly force against another when and to the extent that person reasonably believes this is non-deadly force. That force or the threat of force is necessary to defend a person or somebody else. Reasonably believes. So if you used force to deal with a situation and 12 of these people agreed with you, you're okay. Okay? They're not going to ask 12 cops or 12 Navy SEALs. Do you understand the different mindset between those things? A jury of your peers. If 12 other people say, gosh, yeah, that's what I'd have done, then you're okay. It's called justified. Just be able to justify what it is you're doing, okay? That's force in defensive person. You need to understand that. Assault. Can you guys take care of a situation on a bus and then be charged with this? Absolutely you can. Let me tell you something years ago. You guys remember the Rodney King thing? Some of us are that old. Yeah. Rodney King incident started justifiably. He was a combative person that the police wanted, needed to be dealt with, But there became a point in there where the cops should have said, whoa, whoa, okay, he's compliant now. We stop. And if one didn't stop, as of late, a lot of these things that have happened as of late, one cop should have pulled the other or should have taken care of the situation and said, we've got this. Enough. Okay? George Floyd, blah, blah, blah. Should have stopped. So understand that when you use force, it just has to be justified. Okay? And is being scared justified? Sure. You don't think that I was ever scared for 20 people running into a building and I'm in the back and A, I don't even get to play. By the time I get in there, the house has been secured. And B, scared that someone's going to get hurt? Gosh, these guns are on live fire at that point. Yeah, it's kind of scary. And every time we walked out, it was just a, thank heavens. Deadly force. Let's talk about this. Deadly force. And I'm just going to try and remember it. Okay. In the Utah Code, it talks about a peace officer's use of deadly force. A peace officer, police officer, can use deadly force if they believe that there's a imminent threat to himself or somebody else. Now, put yourself in somebody else's position, the shoes. Himself or somebody else is being threatened with the imminent threat of serious bodily injury or death. Okay? Somebody running out of your house or running away from your property with your TV and you shoot them in the back, we got some problems. Can you justify if somebody's beating on your door at 3 a.m., comes into your home, are you scared? Do you feel like there's a threat of bodily injury or even death? Okay, that's what you're going to have to justify, okay? So, deadly force, it's something you got to think about. I don't want to scare anybody. I hope and pray this never comes up. It didn't in 29 years of my service. Thank heavens. Okay? But you got to understand that stuff. Sir?
This little incident they had down on the subway here a while back with that guy, interviewed with the guy, and finally the guy died or whatever. He faced all kinds of charges. So is there something there to protect the individual from these sort of things, or?
Well,
Everybody's got to be thinking about it, you know, how far do what do I do, you know?
I'm deaf, by the way, and that's not funny, but I am. This is my good ear, so I'll listen this way. The question was, how do you protect yourself from these types of things when you've got drugs, mental health issues, so on and so forth? And that's what we just talked about. You can use that degree of force you deem necessary to take care of a problem. And you're going to be covered so long as you don't use excessive force, okay? In other words, once a police officer gets someone handcuffed, is that the end of it? Can somebody handcuffed still be very combative?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. One person kneeling on another man's neck while 10 others hold them down, I got a problem with that. You can use that degree of force necessary to take care of the problem, and then you stop. That's really the best way I can handle that. The defense, your defense is going to be drugs on board, mental health issues, the state of mind of the individual, and your state of mind. Okay? You guys are not trained rangers. You're trained bus drivers, right? So they're not going to look at you as this person should have known in that light. The standard for law enforcement would be, the minimal standard would be known or should have known. Okay? You guys are going to be held to a standard of each other and what each other would think. That's why it's so cool that back in the day, not that long ago, peace officers were being charged, some of them righteously, for things that they had done and being judged by a jury of us, common folk. It wasn't right. It wasn't fair. How come I'm being judged by people who just don't understand what it's like to go through a door with a submachine gun and face a man with a gun? How about a jury of my peers, police officers, and let's let them decide because they've been in that situation. It makes it a little bit more fair. How long do I have? Hell, I will go on all day.
6 hours.
It's 10 o'clock, almost. Okay, what is de-escalation? We want to avoid conflict. That's human nature, right? Has anybody in this room, and I doubt it because you guys are a tough group, ever felt like when you were in a restaurant you should leave a tip? Did you want to? Yep. Yeah, I think that's why we do it. That's called pressure. Peer pressure might be at its lowest form, but you feel like you're supposed to do that, right? Well, we don't want conflict. Nobody wants conflict in your marriage, at home, at work, at school, at play. All right? So it's behavior that you're going to practice to prevent that. How do you prevent that? Bus safety rules. You keep the kids in line. You give them an expectation maybe at the start of the school year. Or you guys are public transit, right? There's expectations and rules on a bus. And you guys enforce those rules. A combination of communication, empathy, instinct, and sound tactics. Empathy and sympathy, are they the same thing? They're not. One is feeling sorry for somebody in their state, and one is understanding somebody's state. I would suggest that we don't always understand somebody's state, but we can feel bad. I felt bad for this guy that felt like he needed to throw his beer, and I felt bad for the kid that was cutting himself. But I don't understand it. 2 and 2, what is the universal language? Did anybody ever watch Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I'm going to say love.
Close.
Love, the universal language.
Close. He says, huh?
I was just going to say, if you're quoting Neil deGrasse Tyson, I would say math.
Math, yeah. We got a fellow watcher.
Complete opposite of love.
Well, let me tell you, they'll both get you a long way, but in two different realms, right? One, they'll both save the world, I do believe. Math. 2 plus 2 is 4. You cannot change that. I don't care if you believe that 2 plus 2 is 5. You cannot change that. Have you ever heard the saying, no, it's gone. See what I mean? I had it and it's gone. Oh, yeah, it's back. Perception is reality. No, not always true. You might believe that 2 and 2 is 5, but what's the reality? That's your perception, but no, that's not reality. My job as a simple-minded graduate of Westside High School, 29-year cop, you know what I mean? It's simple. I don't understand the psychiatrics of all this stuff. There are people that do. But common sense will get you so far in this world in these types of situations. Just basic common sense. We all know that it's wrong to get on the bus and slap somebody just for fun. But you don't do that. Might want to, but no, we don't do that, right? It's common sense. Common sense, you protect your passengers. Common sense is we protect our families, we protect our friends, we protect each other. We live in a world where people would rather sit and videotape somebody getting beat than put the stupid phone down and help with the situation. It's ridiculous. Social media shit's going to kill us. Can reduce conflict before it develops. You know how to pronounce de-escalate. Potential violent situation. I don't know what this kid on the bus was going to do, but once you throw a 12-ounce can of beer, that can hurt. I'd hate to get dinged in the head with one. And this lady got hit with one. Violent. I don't want to bring in worst case scenarios, but I'd rather be prepared for a worst case scenario and bring it down than ever have to not be prepared and bring it up. And I'm going to use a million examples today of SWAT or police officer. We don't leave our guns in our car, go to a call, and then think, oh, I should have brought my gun, and go back and get it. We have the tools we need. That's why you see a bunch of us walking around with no back, because we carry all this stuff. And now the vests, yeah, that's how old I am. I started before vests even were a thing. You know, a gun, pair of handcuffs, and then I had a lot of friends that I worked with, dear friends that, 6 sets of handcuffs, guns, tasers. I wore as minimal as possible because I just couldn't handle all that stuff. Anyway, let's get back to the deal. There are some goals. We've already defined de-escalation. Technique, strategies, and tactics. Tactical positioning. A bus driver is in really kind of a disadvantaged position. Your back, you got this fun mirror, and you're probably trained to scan that mirror and keep tabs on what's going on in your bus. So you're constantly scanning, not to mention the road, your mirrors. It can be very overwhelming, okay? Now throw a real bad situation into it. The road, the mirrors, your mirror, what's going on the bus, and the safety of your passengers. That's a lot on a plate. When people get very excited, they lose their capacity to do finite things, okay? The body has a natural mechanism that when it gets overwhelmed, you see that slingshot thing on YouTube or where the people get, and what do some of them do the second they go up? They pass out. That's their body saying, I ain't dealing with this, I'm shutting down. Okay? How do you remedy that? You put yourself in those positions often. It's called training. Okay? Eventually, you go from passing out to maybe even smiling. Or, if you're super smart, like you guys, you don't go on the damn ride again. Right? I mean, who would walk around the rest of the day sick like I did at Lagoon? Tactical positioning. Should you ever have to stop the bus, you got to be aware of where you are relative to what's going on. Your company policy. That's another disclaimer, that D word, you've got to follow it. Whether you have one or not, follow it. I know that didn't make any sense. And then the legal issues, we went over a little bit that at the front, right? Assault, when you can use force, heaven forbid, deadly force. Let's play this. It's about a 5-minute clip of a police officer dealing with a kind of a mental subject.
You can go as long as till 10:40. You can go till 10:40.
Okay,
If we finish early, that's fine.
I'll hurry along.
No, you don't need to hurry. And if we finish early, that's fine too. So
there's-
whatever you want.
10:40?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you're good.
Roll over on your stomach. Put your hands down, man. Put the gun down. Or drop whatever you got. Drop it. Drop it. Don't play around, man. Look at me. What's your name? Hold on. What is this? Sean? Good, Sean, look at me. Hold on, listen. Here. Dan, don't say a word. Hey, listen to me. Sean, look at me. No, I'm not coming over there. Listen to me. Sean. Listen to me. Shh, don't talk. Sean, look at me. My name's Jeremy. Okay? You listening to me? Sean, this is what I'm going to tell you. All right? I don't want you. No, we're not. Sean, look at me. Sean, Look at me. Just look at me, okay? Pay attention to me. Don't pay attention to anybody else. Pay attention to me. Here's what I want to tell you. Nobody's coming, dude. Look at me. It's just me and him. Sean, look at me. Listen to me. Don't talk and listen. Sean, listen. I'm trying to help you, okay? Sean, please don't do this. Get up, man, please. Listen, it's over with. Okay? So here's the deal. It's not a big deal. Everybody makes mistakes. I've made mistakes. He's made mistakes. We've all made them. But listen, here's what makes the difference between a man that made a mistake and a man that's making the wrong choice. Look at me. Sean, look at me. People that make mistakes, just hold on right there. Sean, look at me. Better pay attention to me. Sean, look at me. Sean, pay attention to me. All right, listen. I know that you don't have a gun. Okay? I know you don't. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is I know you don't have a gun, but I'm not trying to come in there and beat you up. I'm not trying to come in there and hurt you. I'm not. Listen, if I wanted to hurt you, I would let that dog go. Okay? Because I don't want to hurt you. I know you don't have a gun. I know you're upset. I know you're mad about what's going on. I know you're upset. Okay? I'm not worried about that knife. I just want you to know. That's not why I'm standing over here. I'm trying to give you the chance to make this right. I know you're scared, dude. Listen, look, for me, I just stood in a pile of hornets and just got stung like 20 times. My dog just got stung 20 times. But that's okay, man. It's just jail. And then you're over with. No, I do understand. Listen to me. Listen, don't act like that because I'm not coming over there and you're not going to do anything and you and I both know that. That's all you got to do. Stand up, walk over here to me. If you don't want to go to them, you don't trust them, fine. Stand up, come right here like a man. Put down your knife, walk over here, and I'll put you in handcuffs, and I promise you, we will walk out here together. I will still treat you with respect as we leave. Just walk out here. Keep your hands up high. Did you leave the knife over there? Okay, keep walking. Keep walking. You can light that up. Oops. Collapse. I'm just going to lay the dog down. Keep walking this way. Collapse. That's fine. Keep walking this way. Stop right there. Turn around. Keep your hands up, 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 up. Just like that. I gave you my word, right? All right. Put your hands on your back. Right. Keep walking.
All right. I have been in that situation so many bajillions of times. And that guy, that police officer did. The guy was in a mental state, blah, 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 maybe a little suicidal. And you'd be surprised at what letting somebody have a cigarette or you know what I mean? Giving them whatever it is just to bring them down just a little. Go ahead.
I think something that he did that I really liked is that he started to relate to him. He started to call him by name and give him his name and started to try to make that connection of we're both and then kind of try to say, hey, we both make mistakes. We both make some wrong choices. All of these people have to, like, trying to bring it to you're not much different than I am. We might, you know, because it appears authority in there about here, but if you try to level it out and the things that people do have in common, I like that technique that he used.
You guys are pretty smart because you've both touched on that. If it's safe to do so, bring it down to their level. Put some personality into it, some passion. It's what you were just talking about. We've both made mistakes, okay? I'm not here to beat you up. In today's world, that's what a lot of people are afraid of with the police. Gosh, there's going to be 10 of them, and you know, beat the guts out of me, and let them know that you're with them. You're working with them to a solution to the problem. Yes, sir.
The suspect also seemed to be kind of saying a million things to everyone involved, and he tried really tunneled into focus to kind of narrow the conversation and kind of help go the way that he wanted it to, instead of letting the suspect kind of just go everywhere.
Exactly. He got the attention of that suspect right from the beginning. There were other cops there. There were other cops, but you're right. It's like, no. It's me and you. Me and you are going to create this discussion. I am going to help you, and you're going to help me. And you come to a healthy resolution. The best thing you can do is to remember that we are all human beings, just in a different state. You know what I'm saying? That's not a picture of me. It's a philosophy, not any one specific thing. You could put a bag in the middle of this room and everybody in here could write a list of what they think would help in de-escalation, and we'd fill it. And every one of them would be right, okay, in one situation or another. Let's keep going for a minute. This is stuff that you guys should obviously think about for a lot of reasons, okay? Liability issues, liability of the company, liability of you, liability of the passengers, and so on and so forth. Wouldn't it be nice if you never, ever, ever had to deal with any of this on your bus? That'd be awesome, right? By raise of hand, how many have had a situation where they felt a little bit scared on a bus? Couple? Okay. Scared is cool. Let me explain that. To be scared is natural. Scared and confidence have nothing to do. You can be scared to death and confident in what you're doing. Okay? And the more you train, and I don't expect you guys to invite these problems onto your bus so you can master them. That's not my point. But the more you train, the better you get. So try this when you're on your buses, if you can do so without crashing. When we went to the police academy a bajillion years ago, and even today, they teach you to play the what-if game. When we're out driving around, drinking our Diet Pepsi, because that's what cops do, and looking for the problem, we play the what-if game. And during my career, I worked a lot of graveyards, okay? And I really found it hard to be in a car. It might not have been such a good cop, right? So I got out often and would walk the building plazas and check all the doors. And I would always play the what-if game. What if I saw this? What if I found an open door, which I would call it in, I'd get some backup, and we'd clear a building. Make sure nobody's in there. What if somebody is in there? What if I turn down an alley that's got no outlet? I'm trapped. What if? How would I handle that situation? Let's talk to the administrators for a minute. The safer your buses are, the better community relations and the better media coverage. You guys want to be known as the safest bus company in the world, a standard for the nation to see. They want people to come here to your conferences because I'm kidding. Because you guys have practiced this. You do the what-if game. You're safe bus drivers. You pay attention to what's going on in your buses. The bus driver in Seattle, I don't have a clue what their policy is, other than you go from point A to point B and don't give a you-know-what about what's going on in your bus, just shy of deadly force. I don't know. He wasn't going to do anything. I had a problem with that. De-escalation's been a practice. Actually, 1984 is when it really came into, I think it was 1984, really came into practice, and they started teaching police officers a little bit about it. But de-escalation techniques have been going on since as early as 1922. And I submit, with some of these philosophers that are renowned worldwide, we've been talking about this since the dawn of man, about how to not get into these types of situations, and if you do, how to get out of them without hurting yourself or someone else. This is stuff you guys need to be aware of. This is you we're talking about here. What's your state of mind? What's your physical capacity? When can you step in? When can't you? I would suggest you've got some type of an emergency code on your radios, right? That alerts your dispatch to alert police, because your dispatch knows where you are your entire route, don't they? GPS, and they know where you're at. You code 3, code 10, Barney Fife, whatever your code is, and they call the cops and they send them your location because something's going down, right? Hope you never have to use that. Has anybody had to use that? Good. Knock on something hard. But the better shape you're in, mentally, physically, spiritually, if you will, the better prepared you're going to be to handle some of these situations. We're not going to have time for all this. So.
We've got till 11:30, so you.
Oh, I thought you said 10.
I know.
Okay. Well, we want to show some of these then. So, I'm sorry, all of these examples are police, but I want you to put yourself into both positions of the officer and the suspect, if you will. Okay? And that's why we call them suspect. They're not convicted. They're a suspect in a situation.
Men's River Guy. Super lightweight, soft and breathable. It's like your favorite cut. Sure, only it's like
Fishing commercial. You can't beat them. This guy could be on your bus.
Hey, how about we just, we'll stay right here, and you just talk to us, how about that? Alright, well, how about I talk to you? We'll start over with someone new. So what's going on? My name is John. I'm doing alright. What's your name?
Right on.
Terrence Dixon. Can I call you Terrence? You just call me John, alright? So what's going on, man? Yeah. Yeah. Why isn't it working? What's going on, man? So when did you take this medicine? Yeah. Yeah. How old are you, man? 22. You going to school or anything? I went there. Hey, wait a minute. Let's just wait. Hold on. I just want to keep talking. That's it. Can we just keep talking, man? Keep talking to me, dude. Is that okay, please? Should we wait till the ambulance? Right. I'm not going to put him on this side or anything. Deal? Alright, dude. What's that? No. Can you pull your arm away a little bit? Just put these bad boys on. I'm going to make sure it goes on real nice.
Okay. So that's the guy really that was on the bus in Seattle. Let's talk about mental health for just a second. Everybody in here has had a mental health issue at some point in their life. Okay, I don't care if it's you've lost someone, you're depressed. That's mental health. You've you lost a job. I don't know, on and on and on. Those are mental health issues, but you have control of them, right? You may not think you do. You lost a loved one, but over time, that hurt changes from kind of a pain and tears to acceptance, visiting the gravesite, finding your peace, remembering, looking at photo albums, watching videos, you know what I mean, with a smile on your face. See how we transitioned, okay? Some people get into, and this kid was in college. I couldn't sit for 5 minutes of college. Well, I tried. So I give him some credit, okay? College student with some mental health issues, takes medication. So just as smart as you and I'm trying to paint a picture of mental health as we all have it. Some days are good, some days are bad, okay? But we have control of it, keeping control of it, all right? Or we have doctors' help to do so. Okay, crisis versus problems. Problems are something we deal with day to day, right? Problems. Helping your child with his or her math. That's crisis to me. Might not be to you. Okay? Crisis. They have to be acted on immediately. It's going down right now. What am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? Now, I won't bring a lot of ugliness into this, but heaven forbid you should get a hostage situation on a bus, right? Somebody gets on there and has a gun. Oh, I would suggest you do exactly as you're told. You probably don't have much of a choice, but if they say drive here, I would drive there, all right? Do what you're told. Until such a point, you've already done the code 3 or the whatever your thing is. Do you guys have buttons, or is it all over a radio?
Just depends on everyone's going to have a little different situation.
A little bit different?
Some have buttons, some are going to be radio. Yeah.
We have nothing. We're rural. We have nothing. Like, you're on your own.
But you have a cell phone, okay? And here's the thing you can do with a cell phone that's beautiful, is you can push that power button while you're driving, doesn't make a noise, and it asks you, do you want to turn it off or call 911, right? Isn't that what it does? Yeah. Just push 911. Let the dispatcher listen, if you can do so without jeopardizing the safety of you and your passengers. Okay? Most of the time you get out of those situations safely, at least physically. You might be a little scrambled, and that's paramount, is getting you and your passengers to safety. Okay? I can't tell you that this is paramount and that this is rock solid, but use your better judgment when you're dealing with somebody like that. Heaven forbid we should have to come crashing in. We trained a lot on that. But anyway, an active shooter, riders actively being assaulted, that you got to remember something. Sometimes de-escalation in the form of verbiage is not the way to go. A police officer has what they call degrees of force. They say an officer's mere presence in a court of law, just being there, is a degree of force. People act a different way if a cop's standing there, do they not? That's force, though it be at the very bottom level. Okay? Then you go from force to verbiage, that's a higher degree of force, to hands-on, to whatever the rest of those stages. So when we talk about riders being actively assaulted or something to that effect, do I need to just stand there and go through these steps? I'm going to stand here for a minute, and this is my first degree of force. Now I'm going to talk to them. Now I'm going to attempt this. Now I'm going to draw my gun. No. You can go from A to Z in the blink of an eye and be justified in doing so. If someone's being actively assaulted, what are you going to do? I submit and I pray that there are still riders today that are going to step in, especially in some of these rural communities that some of you guys are driving in. There was just a song about that, wasn't there? They got a lot of media hype. Everybody listened to it. Basically, don't come into my small town or we'll, yeah? I don't remember who sang it, but he took a lot of flack for that, but this isn't a political speech. I still think there's people in those communities that are going to be willing to step in. Active listening. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Remember that program way back in the day? Stephen Covey. Seek first to understand, then be understood, is exactly what this means. Okay? Most people don't listen with the intent to understand. Boy, am I guilty of that a lot of times. Right? They listen with the intent to, I'm listening to what she's saying, and this is how I'm going to respond to it. Listen. Just pay attention. It takes patience. And I am not I do not sell patience. It's not on my shelf, okay? I've grown over the past few years, and some good things and some bad things have happened in my life. Patience has kind of come to me, and that's a good thing. It's a blessing. I'll take it. But you got to listen to what the person's saying, okay? But while you're listening, I do submit that you, in the back of your mind, kind of formulate a plan. Everybody here can multitask. You do it every day on the bus in a myriad of ways, okay? You have to listen, but you also have to be strategizing a plan. And that's what active listening is. Okay, I listened to this individual. Now I'm going to respond, but I'm going to use some techniques like you guys talked about. Okay, I understand you got a problem. I didn't say I understood your problem. You don't have to say that second part. I understand you've got a problem. Okay? And in the back of your mind, we're formulating a plan of what we can do to get this person the help that they need, right? Using the least amount of force necessary. Understand how they feel or how they view a situation. That's what they're trying to tell you. Okay? And these people are asking for help. They're just asking for it in what I guess you'd call a societal norm in a way that we can't accept. So we're going to compromise. Shows that you care and that you feel about what's being said is important. We just talked about listening. Okay? If you can have the patience to listen to what somebody said and then regurgitate it to them, and they're like, holy cow, this guy's listening. He heard what I said. This person's going to think I can't remember the last time somebody listened and heard what I said. Okay? Just listening. Oh, it's a powerful, powerful tool. Any situations where anybody's actually listened? I don't care. Marriage, divorce counseling, okay. You know what I'm talking about though. Listening to what somebody says. Not just hearing. When I was a young boy, see, I've got hearing problems and I'm really supposed to wear hearing aids, but I can't stand hearing what you people with healthy hearing hear. I've never heard it, and my doctor assures me you're hearing what a person with 20/20 hearing, if they, whatever that, perfect hearing, you're hearing what they hear. I don't want to be in your shoes. A, because I've never heard it. Never. But when I was little, my mom used to say, you need to listen to what people are saying. Yeah. That's back when you could hit kids, and it was a beautiful thing. You know, yeah, good times. Justifiably so. I got the wrath from my mother. Now, my dad was a big man, still is. 6'6". Played in the ward basketball teams and with Con Smith and blah, blah, blah. Big man. And very strong. Tried out for the Dallas Cowboys at one point. Anyway, you didn't want his wrath. My mother took care of all of those situations because you didn't want her wrath either. She's 5'2". And if you did push her to the limit of her not being able to take care of it, the old adage, wait till your dad gets home. You never saw 6 boys clean a house, go over to town and get coal for the furnace. It was a mess of stuff getting done in our house when my mother said that. And she never had to tell my dad because that's how she got things done. So, but where I was going with this was, Mom, I was trying to listen, but I'm deaf. At least that was my excuse. She actually bought my first set of hearing aids for me because she felt bad that I really did have a problem. And I think I washed them in the washer once. I put them in my shirt because I hated them, and that was the end of that. Reassuring people and encouraging them. We're not going to encourage their behavior, are we? Gosh, damn, you threw that beer can spot on. Let's get you over to the baseball club. There's a solution because you can throw. No. Okay? We're going to encourage a solution to the problem. Get them excited about the project, right? There's a way out. There's a better way. There's a way that we can compromise, and so on and so forth. Non-committal words. I'm not going to arrest you. Boy, you better not say that if you're going to arrest them. It's a blatant lie, and you'll deal with this person again. Promise, you will. And I know, I've got them all over my body, but I arrested a guy once, and actually the charges put him in prison. To this day, he is one of my best friends, and I love him dearly. Okay? He and I saw eye to eye. But he came to me one time and he said, Paul, this is what he told me. He said, you treated me with respect. You never did anything that you said you weren't going to do. And by hell, you did everything you said you were going to do. Now, I'm not patting myself on the back. That's how we have to treat people. You know what drives me nuts? And this is just me, because 29 years puts a little psychosis in my head. Don't do that again, or I'll spank you. And the child never gets spanked. Ooh, they deserve a spanking. Don't be afraid. Anyway, I'm not giving you parental advice, right? But anyway, so those are the things that I'm talking about. Listening to what they're saying, encouraging proper behavior, reassuring them that there is help and that there is a way out, okay? Now, you guys might not know what the help is. I don't know if you carry pamphlets on the bus, the public bus system that's, you know, if you're suicidal, call this number. If you feel you're in mental health, call this number. They're probably good things to have tucked on a bus somewhere, but so the passenger sitting down can look at that and discreetly say, what is the new crisis for mental health? Not 988? Is that what the number is? Yeah. So it's a new number, and in fact, this is Suicide Prevention Month or something. Something like that. You know, we're going to offer a solution. It might not be a solution you can give them, but it can be a solution that somebody can give them. Paraphrasing. Is this what you're telling me? You know, and it don't have to be the 25-minute version they just gave you. Is this what you're telling me? You'd be shocked at the fact that people actually believe that you listen to them. Just actually listen to what they're saying, okay? That you're paying attention to their crisis and what's going on. Build trust and rapport. Empathetic listening. We're not here to judge them. This is their problem. Okay? Getting the person the help they need is our problem, so it de-escalates the situation. And when you're done, you don't simply just wash your hands of it as this person gets off the bus to the help of medical, whatever the case may be, and your police and your paramedics are awesome for this kind of thing, because rather than taking them away in a police car, isn't it nice to see someone who just needs a little bit of help going away in maybe an ambulance? Not laying down, but in an ambulance to the help they need, okay? Validate what these people are talking about. You have a problem. I can see that. What can we do? We, together, take care of it. Tactics. If you don't speak jive, don't talk jive. You guys ever see the movie Airplane?
Yeah.
Am I that old? Couple of you? These two black guys are on the plane. They start talking jive. Nobody understands. And then this white lady, just as pure as the driven snow, walks up and starts talking jive to them. It's funny. It's a stupid movie, but it's my kind of humor. Those kind of movies work well with me. If you don't and I ran the gang unit for 20 years. Darn it, they sent me to California 4 or 5 times to go to the gang conferences, study that stuff. If you don't speak their language, don't, because by heck, they'll catch on that, and it don't work. Okay? If you do, speak to them. Okay? We're going to talk in a few minutes about posture. Okay? If you have stopped the bus and you turn around and confront somebody who's having a mental health issue like this, what message does that send? You might have to. That might be the ultimate step and needs to be dealt with now, but think about your positioning, that type of stuff. We'll talk about that.